So I thought a good title for our lesson today is In Someone Else's Shoes. How many of you have ever heard that before? Can someone explain to me what that actually means? What's the meaning of that? If someone tells you, if your mom tells you, have you ever looked at it from in someone else's shoes or from someone else's? Caleb?
Point of view.
Point of view, or I'm thinking of another word. That could be, it's similar to point of view, Riley.
Perspective.
Perspective, very good. And those are two words that you're going to hear a lot today, all right, in our lesson. So, some key questions that we're going to come back to at the end of our lesson are, how can looking at a situation from a different perspective or point of view help you in everyday life? And we actually had one of these talks the other day, didn't we? Yes, it was one of our heart-to-hearts. And why might it be important to look at things from a different perspective or point of view? So I want you to put those questions in the back of your brain. Put it in the back of your brain, because we're going to come back to those as we go through our lesson and also at the end of our lesson. Okay? So let's get the brain working. We've been waiting for this all day. All right? What we're going to do is we're going to do 4 corners. And if you look around our room, we have a corner over there that says President. We have a corner over here that says
Teacher.
I have a corner over here that says
Student.
And then all the way over there by the palm tree.
Parents.
All these sound like familiar people that we have in our everyday lives, doesn't it? Well, with our 4 corners, what we're going to do is you're going to look at a situation, a scenario that I'm going to give you, and you're going to be assigned one of these point of views. Okay? Now let's just think of situations for a quick second here. We had a heart-to-heart the last week about how it may feel if someone's saying something about you. And what did we say? Sometimes you need to look at it from
Another person's point of view.
another person's point of view. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you a scenario that is, that is on this pink card. And one group is going to look at it, look at this situation as if they are the President of the United States. Another group is going to look at it as if they were a teacher, just like Miss Hill. And Miss Leah. Another group's going to look at it as if they were super students, which you all already are, so that one should come pretty easy. And then we have over here, if you were a parent. How many of you wish that sometimes you were in your parents' shoes? All right, well, on today's hook activity, you get to be a parent.
Yay.
Okay. So, if you notice, you have an index card on your desk. Okay, now don't move until I say the magic word. Okay, if you have a yellow index card on your desk, you are going to be the President of the United States. So when I say the magic word, you will go to that corner. Okay? If you have an orange index card, you're going to be a teacher. If you have a green index card, you get to be a student. And if you have a pink index card, you get to be the parent. All right? So, before I let you go, though, let's get some rules down. I need your eyes on me. Once you get to your group, I'm going to come around and I'm going to give you the magic pink card. Do not open it yet. Okay, I'll give you the magic word. All right? But when you get to your group, you're going to discuss with your group how you may feel about this situation that is on this pink card. Okay? You're also going to maybe think up what are some opinions that maybe the president would have about this scenario. You're also going to think of some positives and negatives about this scenario or this situation. And I know that some of you are really going to connect to this situation because we actually had a little talk, a few of us, last week about this because it was up in the news. You guys ready? Does anyone not know where they're going? All right. Cheeseburger, cheeseburger. And once you're at your group, I'll come by with your pink ticket. When I see that you're all there quickly and quietly, all right, presidents, don't open it yet. You are going to read it to your group when I say the magic word. You are going to read it to your group. Ethan's got it. When I say the magic word, you're going to read it to your group. And you're going to read it to your group. You guys ready? So you guys are thinking of it as if you were, you guys are, you guys are,
Teachers.
all right, cheeseburger, cheeseburger. All right, class.
Yes, Miss Hill.
I need you to elect one person in your group that you think can share with the whole class what your group, kind of came up with. How your group would feel about if you had to attend school all year long. So I'm going to give you exactly 10 seconds to decide who's going to be your spokesperson. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, okay, just wait. 4, 3, 2, 1. Once you have your person, make a house. When you have your person, make a house. This group is ready. That group is ready. Come on back, group. 10 seconds is up. Teacher group, you're ready? Okay. If you were chosen from that group, I need you to come join me in the front. The rest of you have a quick seat. Don't forget your index card. You're going to need it later. If you were chosen, come visit me up front. All right, we're going to do some role play. Now, the rest of you, some of you who are at teacher, you guys didn't hear the point of view of the president or maybe a parent or a student. So that's why we have our volunteers up here. Thank you for volunteering. And they are going to share with us what their group came up with. Who wants to go first? What were you?
A student.
So you were the superstar student. So you get to wear the superstar glasses. And Dante, what did your group come up with as far as school should happen all year long?
We decided not to have school all year long because we want our summer to have fun, go shopping, go swimming, and play games, eat popsicles, and run wild.
And run wilds. Give him a round of applause. Thank you, superstar student. You may put the glasses down. Who wants to go next? What were you?
I was the president.
So you get to wear my Uncle Sam top hat. Thank you, Dante. All right. Mrs. President in this case. What did your group come up with as far as school should be all year long for all students?
Well, we came up with that school should be all year long because the president doesn't want us to be hobos and living on the streets and be dumb.
Okay, so we need to be good, productive members of society. Okay, well, remember, you're Madam President right now, so you're the president. So, Madam President, what would be some positive things if we had school all year long? What do you think would happen to our education system?
It'll get bigger and bigger and bigger.
What do you mean by bigger?
As in, we'll get smarter.
We'll get smarter. Okay, very good. And I heard someone over there, they said something about if you go to school all year long, you won't lose what you learned through the previous year, right? Because it's continual. All right. So that was another perspective. Give her clam claps. Oh, clam claps. All right. Thank you, Madam President. Who wants to go next? Mr. Gerald, what were you?
I was a teacher.
Well, good. Okay. Mr. Henderson, Professor Henderson, what did your group come up with?
We came up with 4-day weekends because when you have to do homework and projects, you need more time to do that. And when you got 2-day weekends, you just have to hurry up and do that. And then when you come back to school, you end up having stuff wrong.
Okay, so you're saying to shorten the actual school week. So if we go to school all year long to only maybe have, if there's 4 days that we're given for a weekend, how many days would that actually be for school days then? 3. So you're saying to have school for 3 days and then a 4-day weekend. So you have time to actually work on projects. Okay, so that was our other perspective. All right, thank you. Up, give him fireworks. Thank you, Professor Henderson. And Mr. Kendrick, what are you? So you are the proud parent. Now, proud parent, Mr. Lee, what would you think about school happening all year round?
Maybe I think about it. We should have school all year long because we don't need no summer. Only one day off for vacation.
Okay. Do you want your kids home with you during the summer as a parent?
I want to stay at school.
You want them to stay at school? Why? Why would you want your kids to stay at school? to get a better education. All right, we'll give him clam claps. I like clam claps. Thank you, proud parent. You can put that down. All right, so we noticed some things here. We noticed that our president had a different perspective or had a different, point of view than the student. Did they have the same ideas?
No.
They didn't?
Yes.
Well, the president said that she was for it. And then the student said, Dante, what'd you say?
I said no because we want to have fun during our summer.
Okay, so you want your summers off. You need to recharge, right? Have some fun. All right. Well, we already elected our person. Now, that kind of leads us into our lesson today. Okay? Our goal today, by the end of this lesson, is we want to be able to evaluate situations from different perspectives or point of views. And believe it or not, we actually did that a little bit in our hook. We looked at a situation and we looked at it from different point of views. And then we also want to identify how others may feel in a given situation or scenario. Did we just do that? Yeah. We didn't have just one point of view. We had how many?
4.
We had 4 point of views. So yeah, we were looking at how others may feel. And then also we're going to apply looking at different perspectives to our daily life. And this kind of went with our heart-to-heart that we had last week and why it's important to think of the other person before you say something. Okay? All right. So today for our GLE, it's make simple inferences from the point of view of another character. So I'm going to give you some letters from Dear Mrs. LaRue, our story this week, and you're going to use clues from the story and what is in your schema, things that you already know, and you're going to come up with how another character may feel. Because we know how Ike, the main character, feels, don't we? He puts it on paper. He lets us know how he's feeling. What you're going to do today is you're going to look at Ike's letter and you're going to respond to him, but from a different character's point of view. All right? And we're also going to organize our thoughts and ideas from different points of views to persuade our audience. We're going to start with a 4-square today to brainstorm our ideas, and then tomorrow we're going to put it into proper, friendly letter format. Are there any questions? We're good? Okay, well, let's roll. I do. I'm going to model for you what I expect of you. Okay, we're going to do some group work in just a few minutes, but I need to model for you first. Okay, I need you to take your reading books out to page 416. Quickly, quickly, quickly. All right, we got our books out? Okay.
Well, it's kind of upside down.
You guys can share with Deja.
Upside down.
Okay? All right. Now, what we're going to do is I need you to turn to this page, 416. 416. And if you're sharing with someone, you can just look on over. So our story was Dear Mrs. LaRue, and who is our main character? Ike. Poor Ike. What is so sad about poor Ike? Who can tell me? Who can fill me in? Gerald?
Because he is a bad dog and he has to go to obedience.
He has to go. But did Ike call it obedience school?
No.
Henry, what did he call it?
Prison.
He called it a prison. Is it really a prison?
No.
Did anyone observe something about our illustrations in this story? Nanandi, what did you observe about the illustrations?
Like some of them are in black and white. It looks like that's how he wanted to look, or to picture it for how his letters are written.
Okay, so the black and white pictures are how Ike pictures the situation. It's from Ike's point of view. And then the colored pictures are from whose point of view? Or from what's point of view?
LaRue.
Well, is Mrs. LaRue at the academy with him? It's the real life point of view, right? Now, is he very accurate on the way that he's describing some of these situations at the academy? No, he's exaggerating quite a bit, okay? So I want you to look on page 416, and I'm going to read to you Ike's letter. And I want you to follow along like a good reader does. And it says, October 1st, Dear Mrs. LaRue, how could you do this to me? This is a prison, not a school. You should see the other dogs. They are bad dogs, Mrs. LaRue. I do not fit in. Even the journey here was a horror. I am very unhappy and may need something to chew on when I get home. Please come right away. Sincerely, Ike. All right. So, since I'm going to model for you what I want you to do, okay, let's talk about some key points that Ike made. And I have a cool hat here that Miss Guidry let me borrow. And guess who I get to be when I put on my hat?
Mrs. LaRue.
I get to be Mrs. LaRue, okay? And you've seen pictures of Miss LaRue in our story. So when I put my hat on, I'm looking at it from the perspective or the point of view of Mrs. LaRue. When I take my hat off, okay, I'm kind of stepping out, and we're going to examine what Ike wrote. Okay, so let's look at this first letter. Let's see. I'm going to put on my hat, and you know what we do when we change perspectives. Zzz. So, Ike wrote me, how could I do this? This is a prison. Well, I know it's not a prison. I know it's one of the best dog academies in the entire United States. And, I mean, Ike had some issues at home. He was chewing things. He was misbehaving, so something needed to be done. So I tried to pick the best place to send him. Let's see, what else did he write? The other dogs are bad dogs? Well, I know that my sweet little Ike, he's a little bad dog too, but I don't like to call him a bad dog. I'm just going to say that he needs just some extra support, some extra help maybe, to get him to be that good dog that I know that he can be. Let's look, one more thing, chewing. Ooh, that was one of Ike's main problems at my house. He used to chew my shoes. He used to chew the remote. Oh, he went chew crazy. So I'm hoping by the time he leaves this academy that he will not chew anymore. But just in case, I'm going to make sure I have plenty of toys for him so he can chew on those and not my shoes. Okay, so I just modeled for you what Mrs. LaRue might be thinking to Ike's letter. Okay, and what you're going to do when I let you work on this together as a group is I have name tags for you. And you guys actually get to put on the name tag. And you get to be that character. Just how I put on my hat, once you put on your name tag, guess who you become? That person. No, you're not Ike. Because I have different characters that were in our story. So you get to zzz and become that person. And you're going to look at it from their point of view. Okay? Because we know Ike isn't very accurate, is he? No. All right. So I want to just, because what you guys are going to have with you is a 4-square too. Okay, and I already came from Mrs. LaRue. We did our think aloud. And we would say, what would Mrs. LaRue say? Now, I discussed with you, kind of with my think aloud, how Mrs. LaRue might react to what Ike said. And what you're going to do as a group, and I'm going to model it for you here, is put it into a 4-square, since that's how we're organizing our writing. And since we're going to end up with a friendly letter, what does a friendly letter need first? Gerald. Dear. What do we call that? What do we call that, Tony?
Greeting.
A greeting. Okay, so there's my 4-square. And notice at the top of my 4-square, it says, using the letter on page 416, respond to Ike's comment from the point of view of who?
Mrs. LaRue.
And you just saw that. I was Mrs. LaRue, right? With my hat on. Okay, so for the greeting, what would I put if I was responding to Ike for my greeting? Diana?
Dear Ike.
Dear Ike. And what does a greeting need at the end of it? What does it need, Darius? A comma. And where does that comma go?
After Ike.
After Ike. Okay, some of us are still having problems. We're putting that comma after dear. No. Our comma goes after Ike. So I would put, Dear Ike. Now the first comment that I want to bring to attention is Ike said, how could you send me to prison? Okay, that's what Ike said. And as Mrs. LaRue, what might Miss LaRue say to that comment? What did I say when I modeled it for you? Kendra?
Dear Ike, I think this is the best thing for you.
It's the best thing. Why? What is it? It's not prison. What is it?
It's the best dog academy
Where?
in the United States.
In the United States. And am I doing it to punish him? No. So I agree with you guys. I said, Ike, I've sent you to the best dog training academy in the United States, and I know it will make you such a better dog. Now, whose point of view is that from again? Miss LaRue. Okay. Now, a second comment. other dogs are very, very bad? Are they very, very bad?
No.
What would Miss LaRue say to that? What would Miss LaRue say to that?
That they're not bad.
What about them then if they're not bad? What would she say?
They're good dogs because they're in the greatest dog academy.
So are they good if they get sent to that dog academy, or will they be great when they leave that academy?
They'll be great when they leave.
Okay. Nandi?
I think that they're not bad dogs, but that's what I think. So
What would Miss LaRue think though?
she would think that they weren't, but if he really persuaded her in his writing, then she would.
But what did I say when I was Mrs. LaRue?
That they're not really bad dogs. That's just Ike's opinion.
It's Ike's opinion. And Riley, what else did I say?
She said that they're not really bad dogs. They just need some help.
You just need some help. How many of you have ever felt that way before? Oh, I have. But that's okay. Sometimes all of us need some help. So the other dogs may seem very bad, but they just need some extra special support, or, like Riley said, help. All right, my third comment is and now this is Ike talking, okay? I'm very unhappy and I need something to chew. What would Miss LaRue say about that? I'm very unhappy. What would she say to Ike? Dante, what would she say to Ike if he said, I'm very unhappy and I need something to chew? Think back when I put my hat on.
She was like that. If she let him come back, he'll chew up all of her shoes.
So what did she say that she needed to get?
Some toys. So
Toys to keep him. Now, does she want him to come back and chew things? What is she hoping?
that he'll come back and not chew.
That he's going to learn, right, at this academy. But she said, just in case, I'm going to make sure I buy what?
Lots of toys.
Okay, and so that goes into my next comment. I know you may seem unhappy now, but imagine how much you will have grown by the time you leave. I'll have plenty of toys for you when you graduate and come home. Because throughout this book, does Ike want to be here? No. He keeps talking about how he wants to come home. He even talked about breaking out. Okay? So Miss LaRue, being the loving owner that I know she is probably trying to encourage him. I want you to graduate and I want you to finish, okay? And when you come home, I'll have these for you. Now, also, with a friendly letter, we have to have a closing and our signature, okay? So what might Miss LaRue say to close her letter to Ike? What would she say, Ethan?
Your loving owner, Miss LaRue.
I wish I had that before I typed it, but I like it. Your loving owner. What might she say before that, though, to kind of close it up? Andrea, what might she say to kind of close it up and kind of wrap up her letter?
I can't wait till you come home.
I can't wait for you to come home, all right? And I have your loving owner, Mrs. LaRue. Well, let's see what Miss Hill picked. Oh, I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to see the new and improved Ike. Love, Mrs. LaRue. All right, so now I've modeled for you what you are to do in your group. I'm going to give you a 4-square, okay? And with that 4-square, you're going to have some name tags attached to it. For example, this group gets to turn to a page in their book, and guess who they get to be? The neighbors. And you have to read about what Ike said about the neighbors. You're going to read first, just how we did. I read you the letter. I thought about the letter, and I thought, how would Miss LaRue respond to this letter first? And guess what? We're working in groups, so guess what you get to do? Talk. Okay, we're going to help each other out here. You're going to talk amongst your groups, and you're going to talk about how might the neighbors, some of you might have the guards. How might the guards respond to Ike? Okay. One group even has Mrs. Klondike, and she looks so sweet, but he makes her out to be so mean. All right. So you're going to respond. You get to put your name tag on, read, think about how this person might answer. You guys can even change your voices if you want. How's that sound? I know how some of you like acting. You can even change your voice if you want. And then I even have jobs for you. So on your index card, when I give you your number, I want you just to write it on your index card. Now this index card we're also going to use as our exit ticket at the end, and it's also going to be our reminder throughout our lesson because each person is going to have a certain job. So you're going to read the letter on the page, you're going to discuss as your group, and now those numbers. Student number 1, you get to be in charge of the greeting, writing the greeting in the middle. And you are in charge of writing the comment number 1. Now, that doesn't mean that you come up with it on your own. Guess what you have to do? Discuss it with your group, just how you did in your 4 corners. You guys discussed as a group, okay? Student number 2, you're going to be responsible for comment number 2. And guess what? Miss Hill helped you out. I even helped with putting the comments already down here for you, okay? So you're just going to think about these comments and come up with the response from that point of view. Student number 3, you're in charge of comment number 3. And then student number 4, guess what you're in charge of? Now don't sign it, Mrs. LaRue. Are you Mrs. LaRue? No. Well, it matters what your name tag says. Make sure you sign it with that. Are there any questions about this before we get going? All right. So person number 1, you're going to have the paper first, and you get to write on it. And then we're going to pass it around the group. Don't forget to put your name tags on. Okay? All right. I'm going to give you guys the neighbors. I'm going to give this group Mrs. Klondike. This group gets to be the guards. This group gets to be Mrs. Hibbins' cats. Meow. And then this group gets to be Dr. Wilfrey. All right. So Kendrick, when I say the magic word, you can go to your group and work with them. Are there any questions before we start, kiddos? What? All right. We're ready to roll? All right, I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to give you about maybe 10 minutes? Yeah, I'll give you 10 minutes. All right, to go ahead and brainstorm this. If you finish early, I want you guys to practice how that person might say the comment, because guess what we're going to do? We're going to come back together as a group, and you guys get to share what you all wrote. Okay, so you guys can kind of rehearse it together as a group. You ready, Kendrick? All right, cheeseburger, cheeseburger. Okay. No. Hold on. We need our roles. Who's person 1? Then she needs to be writing. And you can help her out. So what are you guys saying? What did Ike say?
He said they're always saying good, bad.
Who's they?
They're all caught up in good, bad.
Who's they?
On the guards say.
The guards.
And they say they caught up in good dog, bad dog thing.
Okay, so what are you guys saying? What would the guards say back to Ike then?
The reason why we want you to learn.
Okay. Wait, now you said do that. What's do that? The reason why we do that. Do the keep it shuffle? Do...
It's the reason why we say good. Do that because like we're saying we're always calling.
What's do that though?
She's talking about that. Do that.
So what would you put? The reason why we...
Say good dog.
Make sure you get that down. Because remember, we might not necessarily know that the guard said this. Okay, so you want to make sure you repeat that. So the reason why we said good dog and was because. Okay, so add that. No, are you number 1, Ethan? Well, maybe you can let Deja use that. How's that? Okay, so let's make sure and help her out as she writes that. What did we do? I didn't get to do my part. You finished? I need to see pencils. You can put your pencils down. I want to see who's ever in charge of the paper right now, whoever that may be, I want to see fist to 5. How many more minutes might you need to finish this up? Fist meaning we're done. We don't need any more time. One finger, our group needs about 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes, 4 more minutes, 5 more minutes. Now, a little hint, if you're already on the 3rd comment, you probably need maybe only 2 more minutes, okay? If you're on that last box, you probably need about 1 more box. So show me, whoever has the paper in front of you, I see a 5, a 3, a 1, a 2, and a 3. I'm going to give you guys 3 more minutes. My group that has 5, we need to speed it up a little, okay? Because we're about to share. Okay. I'm looking. Ready, ready, ready. Riley, thank you. Let's think for a second. What was our goal today? Who can tell me? Let's think back. What was our goal today? What were we trying to do today? What were we trying to do? Tony, what were we trying to do today?
We were trying to think from different point of views.
Okay. Now, think to yourself, were you able to look at a situation from a different point of view? Think to yourself for just a second. Okay, some of you are going like this, some of you are... Okay, so remember that as we're going on, because some of you really are taking on this point of view. Some of you are changing your voices. Some of you are getting angry, and I like to see that. So I think we're getting closer to our goal. I like to see that. Now I need some volunteers to share. I'm looking. I know what I'll do. The sticks never lie. All right, so Andrea's group. Okay, now you get to share. Now you can either stand up or you can just pass the paper. You can read with different voices if you want, or you can just read. It's up to you. But make sure you do it loud and proud so everyone can hear. Now remember, eyes and ears, we're being good listeners, because put yourself in the presenter's shoes. You would want people listening to you, right, Ethan? Okay. All right, go ahead and share loud and proud.
Dear Ike, we hope you do better and don't chase us anymore.
You were being a little melodramatic about escaping in the middle of January crying.
I feel really sick for 3 whole days. We don't appreciate you saying that. Next time, ask.
And before Ty reads, who thinks that they can predict whose point of view they're coming from? Elisa? The Hibbins cats. All right, let's see if she's right.
We wish you very good luck when you get out of obedience school. We will treat you better.
Yours truly, the Hibbins cat. Meow.
All right, give them a round of applause. Good job, Gerald. All right, my next group. Oh, Ty, you already shared. Darius. All right, loud and proud so we can all hear.
Dear Ike, sorry I barked orders at you, but you flatly refused to do them.
We work hard on these all day long, so when you come home, you will be obedient.
Maybe you can send a letter to Mrs. LaRue to remind her to look both ways before crossing the street.
Now, before we go on, who thinks they know what perspective they're coming from? Who thinks they can tell me? Traylon.
Mrs. Carew.
Mrs. Carew? I know there was a character that started with a K. Klondike. Very good. All right, so let's see if we're right.
I'm sure miss you dearly. You're our teacher, Miss Klondike.
All right, so you're a teacher. Awesome. All right. My next group, Adrian already shared. Deja. Mm-hmm. All right, listening, eyes and ears.
Dear Art, the reason why we say good dog and bad dog is because we want you to learn.
We are not trying to break it. We are trying to help you.
We took your typewriter away because it was very disturbing to the other dogs.
Okay, so let's think for a second. Nigel, who do you?
Guards.
The guards. Let's see. Loud and proud, Kendrick, so we can hear you.
We really care for you. You're truly guards.
The guards. Good job. We got two more groups. Who's it gonna be? Henry. The sticks are lying. Nigel. All right. Loud and proud. Listen, eyes and ears.
Dear Ike, we were complaining about your hollering because we were trying to sleep.
Dear Ike, we woke you up with our loud vacuum because we were trying to clean up the house so it wouldn't be dirty, and we put it on high by accident.
Dear Ike, we think that we should get along too. We are sorry for everything.
Dear Ike,
Oh, but hold on, Nigel. We got to guess. We're having a hard time yet. Darius. The neighbors. Let's see.
Dear Ike, we can't wait to see you again. Sincerely, your neighbors.
All right. All right, and then our last group. Come on. Sit down.
Dear Ike, I took X-rays and I did not see anything wrong with you.
Good expression.
I know that you are faking because why would you eat gravy but nothing else?
I can't find anything wrong with you, so stop playing sick and go back to a vegan school.
Wait, I put something else first. They gotta guess.
Henry. Dr. Wilfrey. Let's see if we're correct.
So I hate to tell you, but you have to go back to obedience school. Sincerely, Dr. Wolf.
Awesome job, guys. Good stuff. We looked at the way that Ike and the other characters looked at different situations. Now, did y'all see a situation from a different way? Because that's our goal. We need to try to see different situations and scenarios from different point of views. After reading or hearing some of our responses from our group, does anyone think about this story differently? Tony, you do? What do you think differently about our story?
Well, I can actually see what the other characters are thinking.
Okay, because before we only had it from whose point of view?
I.
And how many different point of views did we just explore?
4.
Did we just evaluate?
It's 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got to look and examine, 6 different point of views. And that's going back to our goal where we wanted to look at different situations from different point of views. And we didn't just get 1, you guys got 6 today. Okay, very good. Let's see. Moving to our other one. Oops, I'm hitting the wrong thing. Did any of the different perspectives surprise you? Lisa?
Except for the yummy gravy.
From whose perspective was that?
Ike's.
From Ike? What about that now? What about that surprised you?
Because why would he eat it if he was sick?
Oh, yeah. How many of you have been sick before? Especially with stomach stuff. You don't want to eat anything, right? Especially gravy. All right. And what else? Let me see. Ethan, what surprised you?
The neighbors, because it didn't say in the story they were sorry, because I didn't really know they were really sorry, because he was howling and they were vacuuming, and that just surprised me.
It did. Do you think the neighbor, how many of you have had a howling dog wake you up in the middle of the night? I've had my own dog do that, okay? And especially neighbors' dogs. I agree with you. It was kind of surprising that here the neighbors are apologizing to Ike saying, hey, let's get along. All right, very good.
Shouldn't Ike be apologizing?
So, I think so. Well, it matters from what point of view, right? Okay, so I want you just to look up here for a second. Can we evaluate a situation from a different perspective or point of view?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you feel? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Can you do that? Evaluate it. And we just went through some examples, and you guys just gave me examples from our story to prove that. I agree. Can we identify how others may feel in a given situation or scenario?
Yes.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? What's this? I need thumbs up or thumbs down? I don't see all thumbs. Okay. And how about this last one? And boys and girls, I think this is the most important. We're not in desk right now. Apply looking at different perspectives or point of views in our own lives. Think of your own life. Think of our heart to heart. When can you apply? When can you look at it from a different perspective in your life? Think about it. Think. When can we do that? Riley?
Whenever you're like really mad at somebody.
Okay. And how can, keep going, I want to hear, how can you look at it from a different point of view or perspective?
Like you can think how they're feeling.
Okay, before you do what? If you're angry at them.
Like hurt them or something.
Hurt them or jump on them, like,
Strangle them.
well, we don't want to strangle, but even just like with our words sometimes, right? We might say something that we don't mean because we're just angry at that time. Can anyone else think of an example that you can really think about another person's point of view or perspective? Just one, that's it.
Maybe when you're like happy, but like when you win something and you brag, someone might be feeling a little upset, disappointed.
Okay, and here they see you celebrating. And here they didn't do as well maybe. I'm thinking of when we do our data binders. What do I tell you when you get your test back?
It's okay.
Graph it. It's okay.
Well, we graph it, yeah, but what
Don't
about it
brag.
when you get your test?
Don't.
What do I say, Ty?
It's okay if your grade is a little down.
It is a little down, but do you want to see the person next to you who got 100% doing like the Cupid Shuffle or dancing around? No, okay? So you have to keep in mind other people's perspective, what other people might be feeling, okay? And this is like the biggest part of our lesson that you guys can take away with you out of this classroom. You guys can take away with you when you go home. And believe me, I know I had 3 brothers, and it took all my might to try to think of it from their perspective at times, but it really helped me out, okay? Because sometimes things seem different from a different perspective, all right? Now you have an exit ticket, and you only have to pick one of these to answer, okay? And it's going back to our key questions at the beginning. You can either answer this one, how can looking at a situation from a different perspective or point of view help you in your everyday life? And we kind of just did a quick discussion about this. Or you can do, once it clicks, why might it be important to look at things from a different perspective? Okay, so pick one of those to answer, and on your index card, you can write your answer. And what are we working on right now when we're answering constructive response questions? What are we working on? What are we working on? Caleb, what are we? Well, that's what we're working on this lesson, but what have we been working on? And this isn't only in reading, it's in math and in science with those constructive response questions. Artura? Very good. Let's repeat part of this question in our answer as we write it, okay? So go ahead and you can write down your answer to this. Make sure we're repeating part of that question, and this will be your exit ticket. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes, and then we'll wrap up, and you guys can go to PE.
It could help me. I picked the top one. It could help me in my everyday life by whenever I get mad at someone when they do something to me.
Okay, so what could you do? If someone does something to you to get you mad, what could you do? Because you said it, and I need more details than just it.
To see the point of view from other people.
From their point of view then? So maybe step out for a second. I know I've told some of you in here, sometimes we need just to count to 10, right? And when you count to 10 and cool off, you can think about, well, and that's a good thing to do, because then it will give you and it will allow you that time to think of it from that other person's point of view. Awesome job today, guys. I'm going to pick up your exit ticket when we leave. Give yourself a round of applause. Good stuff today. Good stuff.